Hey y'all, welcome to Pink Shade. It's Tuesday, and that means I'm here with Kimberly, the return of Kimberly for 90 Day Before the 90 Days Tell All Part 2. Kimberly, welcome back. We missed you.
The return of Kimberly.
I'm so glad. I know that you were concerned that we were going to forget about you, but we
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
forget about you. Yeah.
Well, you replaced me with some A-list people, so.
Oh, well, you're A-list yourself, so you got to replace an A-list with an A-list. Yeah.
I was like,
Oh, I know
please
you've.
don't be funny. Don't be funnier than I am. All my insecurities come out.
Well, Kimberly has been sick, so if she sounds a little deeper in the voice than normal, it's all right. She's still going to be funny, just with a little bit of a different voice.
Yeah, I don't sound like Amy Archer today, I guess.
Not quite so high pitched, right?
Yeah.
Right. Oh my God. Well, I want to hear about Crime Con. Other than the illness, I'd like to hear you guys did a live taping with Josh Mankiewicz.
Yes, in front of a large group of people. It was so fun.
I
I
saw
was
the picture.
very nervous, but it was so fun.
I'm
And
glad you took a picture like from the stage so you could see what it looked like because that
I
would have
was
made me a nervous
that
wreck.
nerd. I was that
hmm
nerd that was like at the Tonight Show or whatever, filming the audience. Yeah, for
I
my
would have done
mom.
that. I would
Yeah,
have done that too, though. I would have
yeah.
wanted to see it. So,
Not that
is
they were
this
there for us. Let's be real. They were there for Josh Mankiewicz, but it was still
well?
felt good.
I want to know, can we hear that episode anywhere?
Soon, I believe that CrimeCon is going to give it to us so that we can release it. Yes.
Okay, good, 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 good. And is there video of it anywhere? Or is this just audio?
Some of our listeners surreptitiously took some video. They weren't supposed to. I
hmm
posted one on our Patreon Facebook page, I think. Um,
Okay,
I'll look and see what I can post. Yeah. I'll look at the
okay,
video. Maybe I can put a little, I don't know if I'll get in trouble though, because they weren't supposed to record.
right. Because they probably have their own recording of it, right?
Well, they only live streamed some of the events, and I guess I don't think ours was cool enough to be on the live feed or whatever. So I don't know if they actually were even filming.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, and now tell me about this awards ceremony situation. I'd like to hear about that as well.
Yeah, we were up for People's Choice Creator of the Year at the Clue Awards, which is CrimeCon's like award show, and we knew right away we weren't going to win because we were not at an assigned table. And so when we were like, "Oh, we don't have an assigned table. We just go and find a seat." And then Katie was like, "We're not winning. That means we're not winning." Because Nancy Grace and everybody that won like was all at the tables at the very front of the stage, and we
Uh-huh.
were like at just one of the random tables with some random delightful guests that were so nice. So
Okay.
and we were just relieved. Like I did not want to win, and then they made it sound like this very prestigious award, and they were like, the people from Small Town Dicks is like it's a true
Yeah.
crime podcast, so they were
Yeah,
announcing
yeah.
it, and they were like, the following podcasts take pride in their investigative work and journalism and all this stuff. And I was like, that what? We're not winning. We're not winning. They should not even be legally allowed to say that with us in this category. That's ridiculous.
So who won?
The Prosecutors podcast.
Well, who's
Um,
ever heard of that? Not me.
People in the true crime space, I think, have heard of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was fine. We were just excited to be there, and our name was up on the big screen, and
Yeah.
it was very fun. We were so relieved when we didn't win, though. Like we didn't prepare anything. We were going to be very self-deprecating and make a mockery of the whole thing. So it was good that we didn't win.
Did you meet Nancy Grace?
No, she had like people around her all the time. But when she was coming back from the bathroom, I did notice she's very petite. She's a tiny little lady, and I was surprised. Her big hair, tiny little
Yeah.
body, and
Really?
yeah, we had some interactions with like some of her people that were not that positive. Like
Oh, okay.
we have not been that nice about her on our show, I think, and so
Mm-hmm.
not that she would have ever heard it, but we were. Katie really wanted to sit down and ask her questions, like, "What do you think about Casey Anthony?" Like, really wanted to ask her true crime
Yeah.
questions. But
Yeah.
she was at her own table with her own thing going on.
Did you talk to Payne Lindsay?
No, we did not talk to Payne Lindsay. We've talked to him online, I think once or twice, but no, we saw him.
Did you see his crisis hair?
He was wearing like such a strange outfit for an award show, and it just like not a traditional outfit for an award show. It was like if he was going to like a skateboard park
Oh, okay.
at an award show, and I just found that fascinating. But whatever, I guess he like basically runs the whole thing. He can do whatever he wants. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
We dressed up. Like I got a dress from Amazon so we could dress. I wanted to look fancy just in case. I
Yeah,
wore
yeah, yeah,
heels,
yeah.
and I don't do heels.
I don't either. Good for
Yeah,
you.
yeah. Like I can show you this picture that he's. Did you see this picture? That okay? I haven't posted it yet. This is. I'm such a bitch.
Okay, let's see. Okay, well, he is in a T-shirt that says EU, which we maybe assume is European Union, and a baseball hat and ripped jeans. All right. Okay. Well, what
And
was
this
Nancy
is what
Grace wearing?
nice, like a pantsuit or something. Yeah.
Yeah, she seems like she would
Everyone
always
else
be in a
was.
business suit. Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone else was dressed up.
Okay. Well,
Everyone else was dressed up. It's like, wow, like look at the lady next to him. Is in like a nice black dress and like earrings. It's so funny. But whatever, you can do what you want if you're Peyton
did
Lindsay,
he
I
win
guess.
any awards?
He was just like basically one of the hosts or one of the presenters or like
Mm-hmm.
so no, I don't think he actually won anything. But maybe one of his network won something. I can't his network like sponsors half of CrimeCon. Like they
Yeah.
sponsor all of Podcast Row. So
Yeah.
technically I like work for him, I think.
Yeah. Tenderfoot Media. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you my
All
boss,
right. That's
Payne? So sorry.
that's enough Payne Lindsay talk.
So sorry.
Um, Yeah, he had people around him at Podcast Movement too. Seemed to have security or something
Yeah.
around him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
handlers or yeah.
Yeah, people didn't speak favorably of him at Podcast Movement. So
Yeah, interesting.
seems to be a theme. Well, I'm glad to hear that Nancy Grace is a tiny little lady and seems like she would be a decent person to talk to. I did tell Katie that I wanted you to go up to her and be like, "Do you want to hear my imitation of you?" People do like that. Yeah.
Do you think she likes? She might like it. I think she might get excited by that.
When I
Yeah,
talked
like
to Miss Debbie, I told her about our imitation of Osama. I told her. She loved it.
she loved it.
She's yeah, she loved it. She was like, you never know about these things that you say till you see it on TV. You're like, well, I did say that a lot. Wow. And I don't know if you heard this piece of information, but she did tell us that she offered and TLC offered to fix Osama's teeth.
Are you
But he didn't want he
serious?
didn't want it. He didn't want to fix his teeth. He didn't accept it. Yeah. Yeah, that's what
Wow.
she said.
I don't even know what
Mhm.
to say to that. Good for him,
Yeah.
I guess.
Maybe he didn't want to be indebted to Miss Debbie or TLC. I don't think we'll ever see him again, but
Or
yeah,
is he like
interesting.
these teeth are who I am? They
Maybe
represent the dark man that's inside of me.
the
And
darkness inside of
yeah,
me. Yes.
so
Yeah.
I can't change it because then there would be light. And then
I
I will
also
not be an
said
artist.
I also said that his painting was terrible. And she said, a lot of people said that too. I thought it would look like a fun little character. I was like, no, it looked like a demon that was coming out of another person. She was like, yeah, people told me that too. I didn't see it. I thought it was cute. I was like, well, you're wrong. It was terrible. It was scary.
She sounds very delightful.
She was a
I'm
delight.
not saying she's my favorite new person on Pillow Talk, but she sounds delightful with you.
Yeah. And she was drinking those Texas margaritas, girl. She wasn't backing down on that. She was like, I'll take a Texas margarita with a Grand Marnier on top. I was like,
I
really?
love it.
Really?
You've had
Okay.
so many adventures since we last spoke.
I know. It's been so long since we talked because you were off and Katie's been off. I'm going to talk to her this week again about 90 Day UK over there on the $10 level of Pink Shade Prime. We're going to do episode 12. And then next week, we're going to do the Tell All. And Katie's going to be on video doing the dance that she does to the theme song.
Oh my God.
She has a dance. She has a full routine that she's come up with.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a full routine. Yeah. She loves the music and she has a full jazz hands and a movement. Yeah. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. And I
I
can't wait to
love
hear
you.
about her adventures on the way to Orlando. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shopping.
They drove, yeah.
I know, because she wanted
And
to
then
go
we
to
went
Dirt
to
Cheap.
Wawa. She introduced me to Wawa. It was amazing.
Our family has a funny story about Wawa because one time we were at a gas station. We were on a road trip somewhere, and we were at a gas station that was like just a regular, you know, Citgo or a Shell or something. And we were inside paying for stuff, and the girls in front of us went on this whole like Valley Girl thing that sounded almost like the Californians on SNL. They were like, "Did you know about Wawa?" And the other girl says, "No, what is Wawa?" She goes, "Oh my God, next time when we stop, we have to stop at the Wawa. Like they have everything at the Wawa. I mean, they have like Evian, you could get Fiji. They have they have food in there that you could order, like real food. Like we had next time we have to go to the Wawa." And the girl's like, "I didn't even know Wawa was a choice." It was a solid 5 minutes. Dave and I were, my husband and I were like wiping our tears. We were crying so hard. And we got in the car and told the kids about it. So every time there's a Wawa, we're like, "Oh my God, should we stop at the Wawa?" Wawa is something. It's really
It
great.
was like Disneyland. Like I was way too excited, and the cashier was unimpressed with how I said it was like Disneyland, and the cashier was like, "What?" And I was like, "Well,
They're like, "You
we
don't
don't."
get
Have,
off
I
that."
said, "We don't have these in California," and she was like, "Oh, California," and I rolled her
Mm,
eyes like, "Oh,
yeah, you're one of those.
liberal Holly
Yeah,
weird person."
totally.
I was
Totally.
excited. I got a soft pretzel. I got a blended drink, and then you order on the little screen. I was
Yes.
very excited. Yeah,
It's super fun. I love the Wawa. I
yeah.
agree. But yeah, that's like our joke in our house because yeah, that's so funny that you said that. I can't wait to tell my husband. Um, well, let's start chatting about this show. And as you know, I just spent 4 hours at the mall with my daughter, came home, sat on the bed, wrote these notes in record time, and here we are. It's been a day. It's been
Amazing.
a day. Yeah.
You're a
So here
hero.
we go. I'm a hero. This
Not all
is
heroes wear capes.
not in this
Some go to the
situation.
mall and recap 90 Day Fiance.
I gotta tell you, 4 hours in a huge shopping mall is not something I've done in a while.
No, I didn't
Yeah.
forget there's malls even.
I know. It was quite an experience because then, it used to be like at every escalator, every elevator, every like 30 feet, they'll have like a map and it'll be like, "You are here." So you can figure, no, I don't have that anymore. You have to like press a screen and then like type in the store you're looking for. I'm like, I just want to see the
What?
whole thing. I want to see the whole thing. I want to see the whole thing.
It's like an interactive map where you
Yes.
type in the store and it gives you directions.
Yeah, it shows you are here, you're on the second floor, you need to go to the third floor, and then it goes like a Google map, like whoop whoop, and shows you where
What?
you're like, I just want to see the
That's
whole
great. That's like
thing.
Back to the Future.
We don't need that. I need to see the whole thing. So are we walking towards Nordstrom? What stores are in that direction? Should
Yeah,
we walk towards Macy's?
right.
What
I
stores are in
want to
that
see
direction?
all the options of food. I don't know,
Yes.
want to be like, I have to decide right now that I want, a pretzel and then type it in. I
Well,
want
Anna
to
had
like
wanted,
browse the
yeah.
suggestions.
Anna wanted the pretzel. She wanted the Auntie Anne's pretzel.
Hmm.
But then we saw Shake Shack, and then we had a real dilemma on our hands because,
Yeah,
Shake Shack really hits. So
yeah,
that's what we ended up doing. We ended up getting Shake Shack, and it was a good decision.
yeah.
And I felt pretty comfortable on it, comfortable about it. Okay, let's stop. 14 minutes in. Here we go. All right. So tell all part two. So we're going to start where we're just going to go totally in order as it went. And we start with Riley and Violet, where we left off tell all part one, which is, so Violet, are you pregnant with Riley's child? And she says she's old. She's 43. She's old and her health is not good and she could not keep the pregnancy. And she cries and everybody is very emotional about this. And Sean says, "But to be clear, you were pregnant with Riley's child?"
Right. I love Sean just pushing her buttons.
And she says, "Yes." And then she says, Sean says to Riley, "Are you hearing these things for the first time?" And he says, "She didn't tell me it was a miscarriage." But he knew she was no longer pregnant, but I guess she didn't tell him how or why or what the reason was she was no longer pregnant.
Gotcha.
This
I
was this was
misunderstood
con-
that.
this was
Yeah,
confusing to me.
yeah.
And obviously it's her business. Um, so but it was confusing to me. So Violet says, "It is because of my health, but not that I purposefully got rid of the child." So
Mhm.
everybody on the set seems to be crying, and Tiffany kind of tears up. And Tiffany says, as women, sometimes these are things we deal with, and still not completely sure. And then
Yeah,
Sean
I
says, "Now,
feel bad. I feel like I can't say anything because I'm gonna get yelled at.
I agree with that because no matter what happened here, it's her business and her choice. So,
Right.
um, we don't know what happened, so we just leave it there. And so that
Right.
they kind of purposely skirted around it, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Um, and then Sean says to Riley, like, "How do you feel seeing Violet so upset?" And he says, I don't know because I can't really get emotionally attached to the situation because I don't really understand."
Yeah.
And Tiffany says, "Now, because of the timeline that she called you 4 weeks after you got home, the baby could be yours. It could be." And he goes, "Yeah, except for that I take that medication that gives me less than 1% chance of getting a woman pregnant, but okay."
Right.
Um, and then, of course, Sean does what she does. She goes, "Well, there's a lot to unpack here. So, Riley, what's next for you?" And
We need Riley's doctor. And I want to confirm about the medication. And I think there's lots of people who want to know what that medication is as well.
yeah, we looked it up, tried to look up what medication would do this. I think
Yeah.
Amy did a Google on it, and I believe that she said there are several sort of antidepressants that could affect your sperm count.
Uh-huh.
Um, it also could be that there's another guy and she wanted to quickly have sex with Riley so that she could tell him the baby was
That's
his.
what I'm trying very hard not to say since she is no longer pregnant. But
Right.
that that's what I'm trying very hard not to say.
Okay, so I'm the asshole that just said it. But I
No,
think
I
that,
mean it's very sad either way, whatever happened.
of
Um,
course,
but
yes.
I do have questions. Yeah.
You have questions of why she came over on that very last night when
When the cameras were gone, she had hated him the whole trip, and
she
then
wasn't invited. He was
he
like, "I
wasn't
didn't invite her. She just
he
showed up."
shows up the last night, and they have sex, and then she says don't tell anyone, which I understand. That's maybe
Yes,
not her
yeah.
culture. I get that. But then so they had sex one time and there was a less than 1% chance. I mean, that does happen.
It
Sure.
could happen for
It
sure.
totally
Yeah.
could happen. But when you add all the other confusing things about her,
Mhm.
I understand why he's skeptical.
Me too.
Um,
Me
that's all
too.
I was saying. I would be skeptical too.
Yeah, and I think
And then
it's
she said, "When are we getting married?"
right.
Even
She said,
though,
why don't you just ask me to marry you already?"
right, when at the tell all, she said, "I was didn't even know if I was going to tell him, but like I felt like the baby needs a father, but I wasn't even
Right.
going to maybe tell him." And I was like, "But then you said you wanted him to marry you."
Right.
So
He said that on the she said that on the phone to him. So that wasn't discussed. That wasn't asked as to why she said that.
yeah,
Um so
but like it's still
anyway,
horrible. We're not saying it's not horrible, but like,
no.
and I
It's
do. She seems
just
to be very upset. I'm not doubting that part of her story, but
yeah, same, because she said she loves her children so much, so this was
yeah,
devastating to her, and that part we are sympathetic to, but whether or not it's Riley's child is a question, and we'll never know the answer.
yeah,
Um, all right, so then Violet he says, "Well, Violet is coming to the United States." Everybody's like, "Whoa." And he says, "She's coming on a tourist visa on her own. It has nothing to do with me, but,
mm,
we could sit down and talk and be friends." And Tiffany
no,
says, so Sean goes, "Well, do you think that you guys will get back together?" And Tiffany goes, "I could see it. I could see it." And Violet says, "In the future, we could meet up and just be friends." And Riley says, "I don't necessarily think about it, but yeah, the door's open like a crack." And Tiffany's like, "It's a door. It's a sliding glass doors. It's the French doors. It's all the windows. They're all open." And he laughs.
they're getting back together. I'm
I
calling it right
mean,
now, and it'll be a terrible decision.
yeah, 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 I can't. But I mean, she's only there on a tourist visa, so she's coming. She's only coming for 3 months. So,
Yeah,
and she's not going to like go and hang out in Stroudsburg the whole time. If she's in the United States, she's going to want to see some things.
yeah, that's true.
I wonder if she's bringing her kids, and they're all three coming for like a just like a big extended trip.
Does she want to move to America?
She hasn't ever indicated that she does. I mean,
Right,
she's never been like said that she does.
right.
So I don't know. I don't know. So they take a break and they go sit down to go eat. And Jasmine says to Riley, "I gotta tell you." all this toxicity, would you still want it to work out with her? And he laughs. He goes, I had a ring to give her. And they're all like, what? He goes, yeah, I did. I'm just one of these guys where I just can't think of like coulda, woulda, shoulda. Like if I got there and I didn't have it and then I didn't ask, I'd always wonder like what could be. But at the end there, I just didn't give it to her. And then he says, if we had better communication and more honesty, probably I would have. But it's just, he basically says, lie after lie after lie from his point of view.
Hmm.
Hmm.
He should have given it
So,
to that tour guide on the motorcycle.
no, he's got to keep it because what if he needs it? So, we're not going to solve it today. So let's move to Christian and Cleo. So
I
I will
need
tell you,
Sean should host Dateline and be like, well, obviously you killed your husband for the insurance money with your lover, but we're probably not going to solve this today. So let's move on. You're not going to jail.
oh my gosh, people really, really hate her as the
Why she
host
keeps
of this
saying that one
show.
phrase? Like that's like the drinking phrase, and she still keeps saying it. I was like, does she not read our comments? Stop
No,
saying that.
no. I was hoping she was going to be at that party too, but she
Oh, that would.
wasn't. She's too good for that. She's too good for that. She's too beautiful for that party.
She is.
So, all right. So we find out that Cleo just left the States. She visited him for a month in Minneapolis.
Wow.
So that was a shocker because I had literally put my bet on they will never talk again.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too.
So they said, "Oh, wow. Well, did you get to meet all his friends and his family?" And she goes, "Yeah, I met all of the women in his family." And Sean says, "Why all the women?" And every time she tries to talk, I noticed right away, and of course there's a little bit of a delay because of the Zoom or whatever, but whenever she would try to talk, he would jump in because he can't fucking help
Mm-hmm.
himself.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, I can answer that. I can answer that. So, all the men in my family are very like masculine and conservative, and things were said, and it was really rough. So, I just tried to shield Cleo from that to make her feel more comfortable. So, she met all the women. Everybody loved her. Everybody loved her. He's just, he just digs and digs and digs. He never makes it better for himself, but he thinks he does. He's so delusional.
He will never admit a fault, even if an entire room of people is screaming at him. This is your
Right.
fault. You are
Yeah,
bad. He will never
totally.
concede. Yeah.
When so my daughter watched this with me last night because we were online shopping while we were doing this. So we were watching it and she was like, so I didn't tell her anything about it. She didn't know one thing about anybody on the show at all. So she's watching this and when he said the thing about his family being conservative and all that, she said, "Oh, is Cleo transgender?" I said, "Yeah." She was like, "Huh." I said, "Yeah, and she's also like on the autism spectrum. She's also Italian, but like lives in London and has a weird accent." I go, "It's a whole lot going on here." She goes, "It's a whole lot going on with that guy's suit." I
Yep.
was like, "Yep."
And his
You
shoes
have
and his hairline and his
he looked
complexion.
like
Ever. I can.
he puffed his
He's
hair up.
horrible.
His
He's.
hair, he had fluffed it up somehow.
That's not helping.
Like he had put some thickening spray in it or something, but it was so like shellacked back. I mean, he
Yeah.
just is so cringy. He's so
He's
cringy.
trying to go for like some sort of vibe with that suit. Like I'm just this quirky guy. I went to theater school. I know a lot of guys like him, but
Yeah.
like none of them would do the things that he does with their girlfriend, with a girlfriend. Period. Yeah.
So they're like, well, one person who never believed in Christian and Cleo's love is Jane. Welcome, Jane. And Cleo's like, oh gosh. So she says, Jane says, Cleo tells me when things are bad and when things are good. And honestly, I just think Christian is a selfish person. So Cleo says, well, we're on the way, we're on the verge of understanding each other better. After a fucking month? You better be on the verge of understanding each other better. What? Because he's like, yeah, we're learning and we're testing our boundaries. And Cleo goes, well, we're trying to understand each other better. And Christian goes, I understand her boundaries now, and I'm making some changes. And Jane goes, yeah, no, I don't think so because you keep chatting with other girls. And Sean says, well, what do you mean? And Jane says, well, there's been concerns. And Cleo says he's chatting with other girls. So Cleo says, well, there's just been the one incident. And Sean goes, what was the incident? And then she starts to talk and she goes, but he's assured me 100% that he cares and that he's changing. And Statler goes, hey, Cleo, you didn't answer the question. And Cleo goes, well, and Christian goes, oh, I'll answer it. I'll answer it. And
Oh
they
my
all start yelling.
God.
They all start yelling at him. And he says, here's the thing. I've got this Discord server called Steiner's Anonymous. And so there was a gal who joined and she was pretty active on there. And that made Cleo uncomfortable. And Cleo goes, yeah, she was specifically saying that you were cute and trying to hit on you specifically. So I guess Cleo's in the group. And girl made it really clear that she was into you. And Christian goes, listen, here's the thing. I'm an extrovert. I have a lot of friends. I cast a wide net. Like I didn't think anything about this girl in the Discord server. And Amanda goes, you just justify everything and you don't own anything. And he goes, yeah, but I don't think I did anything wrong. But,
Oh my God.
if it hurt Cleo, then I'm sorry. And Raleigh goes,
It
wrong answer,
did.
dude.
It
Wrong
did.
answer.
So you got to
Yeah.
change your behavior.
If it hurt her, then I'm sorry. Not I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If it hurt
If
her,
she
then I'm
feels like
sorry.
that, then I guess I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry that she
I
feels
can
that
think of
way.
I think in some very specific situations, his behavior would be okay with a very specific kind of girlfriend. Like, I'm thinking of Aisha on Below Deck, who is like, she would be like, yeah, invite whoever for Thanksgiving. I love it. Let's hang out with the new girls. Like, she wouldn't be jealous at all. She's one in like 100 girls. Most
Mm-hmm.
girls are not like that. And Cleo is not like that. And Cleo has voiced her opinions that she's not like that, and he's not willing to change. So that makes him a dick because it's crap. You can't just go, that's who I am. It's like the people who are like, I'm a Capricorn, I'm just selfish or whatever. Like, you can't, that doesn't mean you're not whole. You have to still be accountable and willing to grow and change as a person.
Yeah,
You can
right.
he's just so like, this is who I am. I'm an extrovert. That means it's okay. Again, I went to theater school. I know a million extroverts. They would not do this in front of a girlfriend. Like,
It was
it's
awful.
gross. It's gross. And then he tries to paint it like he's a feminist. Like, I just see women like the same as men. They're just people. So I just talk to them like they're people because I'm a feminist. Like, such a great guy. You guys are the sexist ones because you think I shouldn't treat women like women. How sexist is that? Like, give me a break. I was rolling my eyes. He's exhausting.
When he said, I just talk to women like people, like women are people. Oh, thank you for letting us know
I
that.
had no
Thank you.
idea.
I had no clue. Thank you. So then we get this extended scene of when he and Cleo were and he was trying to like, hey, what kind of scotch do you like? Could you recommend? And they were all like, hey, and that's when Cleo's like, we got to get out of here. Ugh. So then we get the whole scene of when he chatted up the American girl at the bar, telling her about the Steiners again, telling about this Discord server, the Steiners. And he goes, yeah, like me and my buddy created it. Cause like if we would say like we got laid, we'd be like, I got some Stein.
Why are
Oh,
you
just go ahead and
telling this girl
the
this?
stranger.
Why do you
And
think you're so cool and so quirky? I'm so cool. I'm so funny. I'm so random. I
and
hate him.
she goes, so okay. And he goes, go ahead and say it. I sound like a pig. Go ahead and say it. And she goes, okay. And he goes, hey, listen, me and my girlfriend, we're gonna be doing Thanksgiving if you wanna come. And she goes, I'm gonna be in Belgium. So that's the new I have to wash my hair. I'm gonna be in
Yeah.
Belgium. Gonna be in a whole other country that you can't
Yeah.
get to from here quickly. Um, and then as all the other cast members are watching this, they're all going, "Oh my god! Oh my god!" Christian, because he's like, "Let me get your Instagram and all this." So they're all going, "Oh, Christian! Oh, Cleo! This is terrible!" All the cast members are yelling, and they say, "Cleo, what do you think?" And she goes, "This is not
Except,
okay."
I have to say, there's one person on that stage that had one sentence defending him, and it was a very odd person, Tyray. At one point, Tyray mumbles, I think he's just being a friendly guy. And then no
Oh
one
yeah,
listened to him, and no one responded because they're
no,
like, no, Tyray, you have no room to
mm-mm.
talk here. Your judgment is very flawed. Goodbye.
Very flawed. So she says it's not okay. It was too many flirty behaviors. And Razvan goes, hey, excuse me, I haven't been a part of this reunion yet. So let me ask, why are you in the bars talking to girls? And he goes, I just crave socializing. Like I'm such an extrovert. Like, And Cleo says, yeah, but you crave that attention and it makes me worry I'll never be enough. And he goes, Don't worry about that, babe. That's not true. And Misha goes, hey, that's what she just said. That's how she feels.
Which
And
is
then,
great, but
yeah,
Misha is not. Everyone was telling Misha, Nicola is not validating your feelings,
right.
and she lets him do that. And now it's like everyone can see what is going on in everyone else's relationship, but
Yeah,
none of them are looking in the mirror.
yeah. Oh, totally. This is the whole point of the show.
Yeah,
And
that's my whole job too. So
yeah. So Sean says, what about when you said sometimes when you go out by yourself, you just love to go out by yourself and you just feel like a wolf on the prowl? And they're all like, yeah. And Dipsy goes, that's disgusting. And they all are just like, that's gross. And Misha goes, that girl was a random at a bar. Ew. And Christian
she
goes,
she was drinking alcohol. That is
oh,
not. The
whore.
Lord does not approve of that.
And Christian goes, it's not flirting. It's just the way I am. It's just the way I am. And all of them are like, you can't validate everything you do by going, that's just me. I'm just crazy.
I'm a Capricorn.
I'm a Capricorn. And Sean goes, well, the girl that you were talking to at the bar, Deborah, let's bring her out. And everybody's like, what? Bring out Deborah.
Okay, I was living for Statler's reactions anytime they brought out a
Yeah.
surprise guest. It was like me when it was like, "Are you the father?" on like Maury. It was like she had
Yeah.
her and David had the most like the craziest huge eyes, like just their mouths open. They're not trying to be polite or anything. That was me. I felt that.
Statler had some hot takes.
She
I
did.
came away from the tell all liking her a lot more.
Me too. She's not
Yeah.
afraid to say it, and she's saying
Yeah.
what we're all saying at home. So go for it.
So then he does again. I don't treat people differently because they're women. Like, I just talk to everyone. I mean, women are 50% of the population. Okay. And Deborah's like, yeah, I definitely felt he was coming on to me. And I mean, he was inappropriate since he had a girlfriend at home. And he goes, listen, I'm just being attacked for being who I am. I've been
Oh my
called
god.
I've been called a narcissist and a flirt and almost been called a cheater. It's way off base, way off base. And Dipsy's like, you don't take constructive criticism very well. And he talks over Cleo as she tries to talk. And Dipsy goes, you don't take constructive criticism very well. You talk over Cleo, you get defensive, and this is not going to work out.
Hmm.
Jasmine leans over and is like, Cleo. And Jasmine's trying to talk, and he once again starts talking. And Misha goes, okay, Cleo, if Christian stays the same, can you be happy in this relationship? And she goes, well, the answer, and then I have to think about it. He's like, listen, and they're all screaming at him, let her answer, because he
Oh my
keeps
god.
talking over her.
It's unreal.
So Sean says, I don't think we're going to resolve this tonight, so let's move on. Christian and Cleo, plans for the future. And he says, well, I know she wants me to go to London, but I want her to come here again and not just to visit. Because we've gone through so many struggles, and I have a question for Cleo. Would you be willing to marry me? Statler makes like a yuck and a yike, like ugh, like a gross face. And Riley goes, wait a minute. Is this a proposal? You better get on your knee, boy. You better get on your knee.
I'm
And
sorry,
Chris,
would you be willing to marry me is like what you ask someone if they will cover your shift at Chili's. Like, would you be willing to cover my shift at Chili's? That is not a proposal. And he's obviously just doing this because he's trying to get out from being the bad guy and everyone
yeah,
yelling at him. It's
yeah,
so transparent.
totally. And that girl, Deborah, is still sitting there.
Poor Deborah. Let Deborah
They,
leave.
they haven't even let Deborah leave yet. But he's just like, oh, yeah, everybody's calling me a narcissist and a flirt and attacking me for who I am. So will you marry me? And they're like, what? What? And so Christian goes, no, 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 this is not official. Obviously, this would have to be in person. Yeah, but after all we've been through, is this something you would consider? And Riley, under his breath, goes, God, he's such an awkward guy.
coming, coming from Riley, that's a
Coming
lot.
from Riley. And Cleo goes, oh, I just love you, baby. And you're the sun to my moon and the yin to my yang. And Riley goes, is that a yes?
Hell
And
for it.
she goes, well, there's a better place for that. And Christian goes, yeah, yeah, yeah. Like there's a better place for it. But like, she can anticipate on one of these trips, like an engagement. Yeah. And yeah, we're definitely trying to get the K1 visa. We discussed that. And Cleo's like, oh, baby.
Oh,
And,
Cleo, you deserve so
oh,
much better.
God. You just got so snowballed, Cleo. And it only
Mm.
took like 4 seconds. And Jane says, I am shattered. Oh, and Christian goes, we're just going to get the ball rolling. We're going to get the ball rolling on engagement and K1 visa, all that stuff. So then Sean goes, wow. Well, on that note, let's take a break. So on the break, we see Jasmine and she goes, oh, Christian, if that bitch, meaning Christian, if that bitch isn't real with this proposal, I'm going to be on his ass. I'm like, okay, Jasmine. Jasmine is taking up everyone's cause.
Jasmine fights for the everyone else at the Tell All, except
She
for
does.
Gino. Not Gino, though.
Right. Yeah. Oh boy. Okay. So now let's go to David and Sheila. Now, when they
Wait,
first,
no,
oh,
but
wait.
you missed. Jasmine literally says to Christian, I mean, I understand that's the way you are, but at some point we have to look at our own behavior. And she's like, and me too. And I was like, how bad does your behavior have to be that it makes Jasmine reconsider her own behavior? Like,
Yeah.
that mean Christian is that bad that it makes
I,
Jasmine go, wow, I'm pretty mean to Gino.
I think that her being in Michigan has humbled her quite a bit.
No,
Hmm.
she did this at the last tell all too. Like, she was so crazy all season. I thought she was like a demon and then like
Hmm.
possessed. And then she comes out swinging at the tell all with funny quips and like rooting for everybody and like girl power. And I'm like, hey, she's not so bad. And then she comes back for the season, and I'm like, oh man, she
I
hoodwinked
don't.
me again.
I don't want to see her again. Here she comes. Um.
Like, I bet
All
she
right.
would be funny on Pillow Talk.
She probably would be great on Pillow Talk. Actually.
Yeah, and it would might
Yeah.
make me forget all of the insanity.
Yeah. You're so right. That's why we love Kobe and
Uh
Emily
huh. Uh
because they're
huh.
so great on Pillow Talk.
Hmm.
All right, so let's talk about David and Sheila. So Sheila says she has opened a little shop. It's called Sheila and David's Sorry Sorry Store, and they sell chips and coffee. And it's specific, but I think it's just like a little sundry shop, right? And everybody's
Yeah,
like, "That's
yeah.
really great." Then we see David meet with an immigration lawyer who tells them that if they got married in the Philippines and then tried to bring her over, it could be like 4 or 5 years. It takes a very long time. So the K1 visa is a much faster process. And so we see him like telling her on the phone, that that's a 4 or 5 year process. This is like a year and a half, 2 year process. And she's crying and he's crying and she says she's gonna wait for him no matter what, and they hope they'll make it work, and everybody on the stage is crying, so much crying, everyone's crying.
Everyone just cries. Like, no one has a bad word to say about either of them.
I know, and when we were watching it, Anna goes, oh, he's deaf. I said, yeah. And Anna goes, does she really love him? I said, just keep watching, she really does.
She really does.
They're
They're
really
the
in love.
only couple we've ever been rooting for, it feels like. It's been
we
so
they, it's,
long since
at the
Kenny and
end,
Armando's first season that we forgot
Anna's
we
like,
knew how to read.
they're great, they're
Yeah,
great,
they're
yeah.
great.
Yeah. So then everybody's crying, and then Sheila says, I can wait, it's no rush, as long as I need to wait, I can wait for him, as we hope we're going to make it work and everything. And then David says they have filled out the paperwork and it's been submitted. Everybody claps. And then we find out that David was able to help Sheila fix her family home. Oh my gosh, it's so much better, so much better.
It's so much better and safer.
Yeah,
Thank
he
God.
says he just wants her, and her son and her dad to have a safe place to live. And obviously, he was able to get her enough money that she could open this little store, and so maybe she gets some income. And so this is great. So they say, David, like, how hard are you working to provide all this? And he goes, oh, how many hours? Now I was sitting there, I was like, oh, he's going to say like 60. He's going to say like 60 hours, and he says 85 hours a week at his two jobs. So he
That's
basically
crazy.
sleeps like 5 hours and everything else is just working.
Oh,
And my daughter was like, "Oh my gosh." I was like, "Yeah." I go, "He works 2 full-time jobs and plus overtime, obviously." And they're like, "How do you talk to each other?" He says they sneak off and they kind of laugh about how he, slacks off from his job and calls her and they are able to talk. And um then they ask about, then we see the whole thing about Sheila being jealous of Amy. And David also says there's no way Amy learned American Sign Language in 1 month. He goes, that's just not true. I don't know why she said
no.
that. There's no
Uh-uh.
way.
I didn't buy that.
And then they ask, "Are you talking to Amy?" And of course, they're like, "Dun dun dun!" Go to
Yeah.
commercial to make it think he's in love with Amy or something. And he goes, "Oh no, I haven't talked to her since I left. Absolutely not. No." And they just say, she's a very jealous person, but absolutely not. Yeah, I've only got eyes for Sheila. So sweet. So then they asked David, "How is Sheila doing with her sign language?" And he says,
Oh,
I give her
David,
like a 2 or a 3."
David,
He goes,
David needs a
yeah.
little bit of tact lessons.
Well, he says she's learned the alphabet and she has some basic signs. They asked Sheila, and she says she wouldn't even give herself a 2 or a 3. So,
Oh,
she was
girl,
like,
I
yeah,
think
I don't
she's doing
know.
pretty well, but what do I know?
Yeah, she was like, I'll just agree. Yeah. Um, and then
He
Sean
should
says,
have said
well,
in sign language a 2, but in the language of love, a 10. The
so good.
international language of love.
Uh, so Sean says, well, with Sheila not being fluent in American Sign Language, they had to get creative when talking about their intimate moments. Let's roll the clip. So then we find out, we see all the, we had a good time in the bed last night with lots of explosions. And then we talk about all the various signs for sex positions and blowjob. And it's hilarious because they're blurring it out when the people are like going, they're doing all the signs and they're blurring it out. And it's hilarious because I guess if you're sitting at home and you speak sign language and
Yeah,
understand and you're watching it, you'd be like,
yeah.
whoa, it's pretty graphic because he does it like in 10 different ways. Because he was like, there's positions. This one goes this
So
way and that
many.
one goes that way.
And Statler's like taking notes.
Statler was so excited. Statler goes, oh, well, how do you say blowjob? And he shows that it's pretty self explanatory. And they all laugh. And then Jasmine goes, how do you say take off your hat? And he shows, take your hat off, put your hat on. So she goes, Gino. So she does take off your hat. And then she does the blowjob. And Gino's like, whoa, baby, I understood that. Wow. Oh my God. You guys, do you have little ones in your house? Little Spoon has something for all size baby. They've got little babies all the way up to toddlers. Little Spoon is a one-stop shop for healthy, easy meals and snacks for little babies, toddlers, and big kids. And it is delivered right to your door, which is something we all need these days. There are the baby blends, which is obviously baby food. There are biteables, which is like a transition to finger foods, when the kids are going from one thing to the other. Then there's platables, which are toddler and big kid meals. And then there's the smoothies that come in those cute little pouches. So I had some Little Spoon sent to my nephew, James, sweet baby James. He's so adorable. I've got 2 more babies coming in my family soon, but I digress. Anyway, James agreed to be a taste tester. He's super picky, and his mom told me that he loved the plates. He especially loved the mac and cheese. The mac and cheese has hidden veggies. Don't tell James. And he also loved the strawberry banana shake smoothie. I mean, that sounds good to me, let's be honest. Little Spoon makes everything fresh and uses absolutely nothing artificial. It's just like homemade, all delivered to your door and ready in seconds. Pop your meals in the fridge or the freezer when they arrive and then use them when you're ready. It's that easy. You guys think about like after school or at that witching hour at like 5:30 and you got to quickly make dinner and you've got screaming toddlers and babies. I've been there and I really, really wish Little Spoon was a thing during that time of my life. It totally could have helped me. From the baby food all the way to the big plates, it ranges from $3 to $7 a meal. And again, if this was around when I had Anna and John, it would have helped me a lot. I wouldn't have had to like walk around with John and a baby Bjorn while I was trying to make dinner while Anna was like throwing blocks at my head. It just would have been great. So make this year's back to school chaos a little more manageable and time saving, delicious and healthy with meals and snacks your kids will love. You're going to go to littlespoon.com/pink shade. Enter our code, which is pink shade. When you enter that, you're going to get 30% off. Y'all, that's a lot. So Little Spoon, LITTLESPOON.com/pink shade and enter our code pink shade for 30% off at checkout. And let me know if your kids like it. So then
See,
everybody
again,
goes,
that would be funny on Pillow Talk.
that was funny.
I laughed
That
out
was
loud.
funny. Because you're like, where are you going with it? Okay. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
She's just a sex monster, and she's just getting worse. The more he won't give it to her, the more she's crazy.
Yeah.
So Sean says, well, now, David, what's next for you two? What will you do if your K-1 visa is denied? And I was like, why'd you ask him that?
Oh, Sean, way to bring
And
the room down. We were all having so much fun, Sean.
I know. And he goes, well, that would be fucked up. He says, but he goes, I would just apply again. I would just keep trying. So that was sweet. Yeah. That's the end of their segment. That's it. We don't get any update on
We
John
didn't even need
Rahil
the
or the
drama
dad.
of if he was still talking to the translator because they had no real
No,
drama. Well,
no.
they didn't really talk about her mom dying or how she's doing with that process.
They did not mention it at
That,
all. And
I wonder if Sean didn't bring it up or if it was cut out for time.
I wonder if TLC is getting sued by the family for causing the death. I don't know.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm just kidding. That's allegedly. That's a total joke. I'm just saying some people online
Yeah.
said that perhaps the walking around the house with the big heavy equipment is what weakened the stairs. We don't know anything. That was a complete joke.
Mm-hmm.
I should have asked Matt Sharp about that when I met him.
Yes.
Are you guys being sued? No, I'm just kidding. Okay. All right. Now we move on. Speaking of Gino and Jasmine, we move on to Gino and Jasmine. So Sean says, so Gino, what about the prenup? And they show the whole thing about how they had the big fight about it. If you say a prenup, I am not marrying you, period. Fuck off. And he is like, well, and then we see them meet at the restaurant and she says she had decided she would sign it. And then he sat down and was like, all right, I've decided, like, we don't need it, whatever. And she goes, yeah, I'm so thankful that I shut up my mouth and let him talk because otherwise I would have signed it. Too late. Too late. And Sean says, did you have your ex-wife sign a prenup? Dun, 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 commercial.
Yeah.
And he says, no. And the reason was because she had her own money and own investment, so she didn't need my money. And then Jasmine explains that because she's all alone in the United States, if something happened to Gino when he died, she's afraid she would just be homeless and on the street and they wouldn't give her anything. And she cries. It's so hard to be away from her family. And then they said, but why did you say put me in your will? And he goes, yeah, it's like we're not even married yet. It's like you want me to put you in the will. It's like, why? Am I going to be murdered? Like that scared me.
He's been watching Dateline. Good job,
And everybody
Gino.
thought that. Everybody thought that when she said, put me in your will before we get married. I was like, oh, that's not good. That's not good. And we've got a lot of evidence if he does turn up murdered. We've got a lot of evidence.
That's true. That's why
Yeah.
I always say if I was being threatened or if I thought someone was going to burn me, I would go on the local news and be like, listen, this is who is threatening me. Just in case something happens to me, this is who did it, okay? And then they won't be able to do it because they can't. Do you see what I'm saying? That's what
Is the local news interested in that story?
I know, but I would somehow pull some strings and get it on the news, or I would put it on social media. I'll put it all over social media for free.
Mm-hmm.
And Gino has now many, many hours of TV footage that is evidence in the future murder trial. So,
I hate you weirdo from Michigan.
throwing the toothbrush
Oh God.
when her face gets all veiny and she's screaming and she's like a rabid dog.
I've got many shots of that on my phone right now that I can pull up because it's just so gold. So then Misha says, listen, I'm on Jasmine's side with this. Like, you wanna be protected and everything. And Statler and Dempsey are both like, no, no.
Interesting. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, they're like, no, you should go into it with an open heart and not because you shouldn't go into it thinking like it's going to end. And I was like, you two don't have a pot to piss in together. Or you don't even have a caravan. But by the way, did you see? I gave you credit when they decided to do van life. I said Kimberly called it. Kimberly called it.
Thank you.
When
Although I
they
think it might turn into murder. I cannot see the two of them getting along in a tiny van together.
I know, and she's got that IBS. They got a
No,
flushing toilet.
Horrible.
Horrible.
I'm doing van life by myself. Not a single person is. I could stand.
Did you see Tell All Part 1 and the extra footage they showed of her pooping right outside the caravan?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yes, I did.
Just, if I had to relive it, then you have to relive it with me.
I did love how Dempsey was laughing so hard though, because at least they kind of share the same humor.
Because that's, if I saw somebody doing that, I'd be like, well, now we have to get divorced.
I
'Cause
know.
it's
But
not
she's
cute.
fine with the IBS. Like nothing about the IBS seems to have grossed her out enough to to me it's like gross. I
Well,
can't.
I mean, it's not like Statler can help it, but she doesn't
No.
have a flushing toilet. So if it's a
Right.
problem for her to be in the bathroom and given a play-by-play of her
Yeah.
pooping and then to run outside and poop right outside where their door is, for
Yeah.
fuck's sake.
Yeah.
God. Oh, God. All right, now I can't. Ugh. All right. So Sean says, well, they may have decided on a prenup, but they disagree on their sexual appetites. So then we see the first scene that we saw of them the whole season with Jasmine going to the doctor to talk about a vaginal tightening situation. Then we get the whole story about the golden shower and her lifting her leg like a dog and peeing on him. And Gino says he doesn't remember that. He doesn't remember any of it. Nope, wasn't his idea because he definitely didn't suggest it. Doesn't remember it. Nothing. And Jasmine goes, we were drunk, but she remembers every minute of it. He remembers nothing, supposedly.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And so they laugh and like, where was this? It's like, oh, it's the jacuzzi at the hotel. And they were all like, at the hotel? And Jasmine goes, this is why you don't trust hotels. People do nasty things there. I
People
was
like
like, oh
me.
my God.
Uh-huh.
People like me. Oh my God. Everybody was dying. So
They really could make so much money on OnlyFans, don't you think?
just her, not him. Nobody wants to see that.
Yeah, you're right.
No. Nobody wants to see him in his hat.
But what if they do
So
like that, like BDSM, and he's like that she like whips him and stuff, or treats him like a baby, the baby stuff. I think
the
there's a
baby
market
stuff.
for it, the adult
Well,
baby.
why don't you reach out to Jasmine
I don't want
and
to be
let,
involved. I'm just
no.
suggesting it.
Yeah. She's already on OnlyFans, I think. Just
Oh, she must
herself.
be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. So, then they talk about the vaginal rejuvenation. She said she did end up having vaginal rejuvenation surgery,
Hmm.
which it is a surgery.
Yeah.
And this is, so you can go into the plastic surgeon's office and they do like a wand up there that's sort of the same as like if you have to get like a sonogram up there with a wand, it's like a big giant penis.
Mm-hmm.
And they do some electric stuff, like Darcy and Stacey did it, and that's just supposed to, like, tighten things up, but what she had was actual surgery where
Yeah, the
they
stitching.
the
Yeah.
stitching. And, she says the surgery was painful,
Yeah.
and she regrets it,
I
and,
think they can do it now after you give birth. Like you can have the doctor right after you give birth put an extra stitch or two up there.
yes, that does happen with people. They call that the husband stitch or something,
Oh God,
and that's kinda
gross.
gross. Yeah, totally. So Sean says, have you had sex since Jasmine had the surgery? And he goes, well, we've tried, but it was just too tight. The banana doesn't fit in the donut.
Oh my God.
So Jasmine screwed herself even further by doing that. She really can't have sex now if he can't even have sex with her now.
And I saw on social media that she's getting her lips deflated.
I
So
saw that.
basically, she's just spent all this money for not.
I know. I'm glad she's getting her lips deflated.
I feel like it's too painful. It looks painful.
It looks painful. Now, if she could do some other deflating.
Yeah. Hmm.
So then when he says the banana doesn't fit in the donut, Sean goes, Nicola, you're laughing. Nicola, you're laughing. We see you, Nicola. And he says, I would advise what I would advise to everyone is that you could just pray to Jesus for this. And they laugh. They laugh. And Jasmine's like, okay, Nicola, that's what I'll do. I'll pray to Jesus about my tight vagina. Okay, whatever. And Misha just laughs and laughs. Isn't Nicola so funny?
She's not going to be laughing when they're in their sexual journey.
No, no. And she even said on that last tell all, I'm
Yep.
so sorry I didn't get to talk to you about it. When she was like, I'm so embarrassed that you just said that. Like when he was like, I learned about it in fifth grade. She's like, oh my God, quit talking. So embarrassing.
She was humiliated. She was like,
Yeah.
this is it's like a man child. No, it's
I
very.
was really hoping that
And then
well, some of
everyone
the,
schooled him. Everyone was like, "You think you know? You don't know. It's not like you
yeah,
think."
it's not like what you learned in fifth grade.
No.
So, all right, Gino says, yep, they've been busy planning their wedding. So I need to do some investigation and look back as to when this was recorded. And we know when it was. I can look at my email. And has it been 3 months? Because if so, then they're already married. Because they would
Oh,
have to
wait.
be. You have to get married 90 days from the
Yeah,
minute
you're
you
right.
land.
Yeah,
Yeah, the clock starts.
we haven't seen
Yeah.
any photos leaked.
No, she's too busy posting pictures and tagging them in Panama when we know she's in Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
So Jasmine cries and says it's been very hard to be away from her family. And Gino is the love of her life. And she wants to be a better partner to him. And she's sorry for everything she's done, as usual. And they kiss.
Watching Christian has really made me realize that I am not nice to Gino. So thank you, Christian.
Right. Well, we wish you two the very best. Now, let's talk to Amanda and Razvan. These two. So this was pretty interesting. I think Amanda thought she was really showing everybody and schooling them, but the opposite happened.
That was so interesting at the very beginning of the last episode when she showed up and she said, I don't think I gave my true personality. And I think that, I wasn't myself and I regret that. And now I'm not holding back. And even her voice sounded different. She wasn't doing the little baby voice anymore. She was like
Hmm.
trying to talk a little bit like tough.
Assertive. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was like, I knew she was fake that whole time. She is a
Well,
bitch.
took the note about not constantly playing with her hair, but
Yeah.
towards the end when she started getting nervous, she did sort of maniacally touching her hair. But she really tried.
Did she
And
say like as much? I don't think she said like as much. But that's a
I
hard
think
one to break. That's a hard
it's
habit.
very hard. It's very hard. I have that problem as well.
I've never
So
noticed.
Razvan says, they switch to him and they say, "So, Razvan, we're ready to talk to you. What's going on?" He goes, "Well, I'm having a problem right now because I didn't know this would take so long to film, and I just missed my striptease class." Is that supposed to be funny? I didn't get
I
it.
think because he's wearing the mesh shirt.
Maybe.
He's like, this
This
is my last chance on TV. I have to show everyone how funny I am. Because before we saw how he could be charming before she was such a
Yeah.
bitch. So I think he was like, I got to remind people to go to my social media because I'm funny on there. And I don't
Yeah,
have this bitch dragging me down. So I better throw in a joke.
he can be funny though. He really can.
He can.
And so Sean says, "Well, how are things going? Are you guys are still together?" And Amanda goes, "No, we're not together. We're just friends. You
Mm.
know, we broke up a few weeks, maybe like 4 weeks after I returned to the States." And David says, "Yeah, I think they just went way too fast. They went way too fast." And Gino's like, "I can't believe this. Like I really thought they would stay together."
Gino,
And Gino,
you think you and Jasmine are staying together.
great point. And Amanda says, when I got back, he was like super focused on his career and said he just needs to be single and focus on himself and his career. Now, Riley comes in with oh, it's super convenient because he got what he wanted with her intimately. And he finally allowed her to figure everything out. And then you guys were intimate and then you broke up. I was like,
Riley,
that's not what happened, Riley.
that not,
That's,
did you watch the season?
it's not what happened.
He was
No,
all in. He was not just trying to get laid. She was a
no.
horrible person to him and gave him
Yeah,
mixed signals, and that's why he has doubts. Not because he
right.
finally got laid. What are you talking about?
He was getting laid before the whole thing that happened where she turned on him about the french fries in the hotel room, we found out, and
Yeah.
said, "You'll never be like Jason. Jason would get me french fries." I wonder how many french fries she ate because we saw when she went to the beach with his family, she
Yeah.
was like, "I'll have an order of french fries." It's like,
Like 3.
yeah.
She's a picker.
Yeah, she has like french fries every day. So, anyway, Riley had a hot take that was wrong. And so Jasmine says, "So, Amanda, do you think the reason he broke up is because you're so mean to him?"
That's rich.
And Amanda goes, um, "Anybody who's with me needs to have a thick skin because I can be a bitch and I'm sarcastic and he didn't get my sarcasm."
I'm a
No.
Capricorn. I am what I am. I'm a bitch.
You guys, shout out to Capricorns. I don't know why
I don't know
Kimberly
why I'm
keeps
picking.
flashing you. Yeah.
I don't even know what their toxic trait is. I have no idea. I just hear people say like I'm a Taurus. That's just how I am all the
And
time
so
on the shows. It
you just
drives
have
me
to deal with
crazy.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Jasmine says, "Well, I feel that she was constantly mean to Razvan, and I could see he was profoundly hurt by her attitude and her words." And Amanda goes, "Yeah, that's not being mean. That's me processing my emotions." And Jasmine says, No one forced you to take the trip, right? It was voluntary. Is that right? And you
So
started not,
Jasmine.
she says, but you started to not wanting him, but then at the end of the trip, you want to be engaged to him. And Amanda goes, you don't know me, so respectfully, shut the fuck up. And Jasmine looks over at her and just gives her that look like, oh no. And I
I
think
could kill you.
Gina was like, uh-oh. Uh-oh. Gina was so happy, like maybe she's going to yell at somebody else. And then Sean says, Jasmine, do you want to say anything back? And she goes, no, I don't want to say anything back. I'll just tell you this. I know a lot of people agree with me on that. And we do. We agree with
We
Jasmine.
all agree with Jasmine. We never thought we would, but we totally do. And also,
Yeah.
Amanda, Jasmine could break you in half. She has that
Literally, it would.
crazy rage strength.
And she was pretty close to her too. She could have
Yeah.
gotten off that seat and flown in the air like the Matrix, and
Mhm.
that'd be it for
Although
her.
Amanda did like go to jail for beating up a lady with a baseball bat when she was like 19. So Amanda can get down
But
and dirty too.
according to her, the girl had the bat and dropped it, and it wasn't her fault.
It wasn't
Oh,
her fault.
it wasn't her fault. The bat just happened to hit her in the head. Whatever.
She's a Capricorn. She can't help it.
She's a Capricorn. She can't help it.
I'm so sorry.
So then Sean goes, well, another person who had concerns was your sister, Amber. Amber, let's bring out Amber. So Amber comes out with her Nightmare Before Christmas tattoo covering her whole arm.
And Statler
And
again is like a golden retriever when a guest
yeah,
has come to the door.
she's
We
like,
have
what?
company. We have company. Company's here.
Oh, you're so right. So Amber comes on and she goes, so Amber, were you surprised to hear that Amanda and Razvan had broken up? And Amber goes, no. They fought all the time. And I was like, you're supposed to be in the honeymoon phase and you fight constantly. I just thought it was a lot. And I don't even know really why she went there and like, whatever. And Razvan goes, well, I needed to see Amanda in person so we could find out if it would work. And I just wasn't ready to commit, 100%. And Riley goes, yeah, you came to that big epiphany after you banged her. Yeah.
Oh my God, Riley,
Riley. Mm-mm.
you lost me, buddy. You could not have read the situation wronger.
And Razvan says, I wasn't ready to be involved in when it was going to be all these problems. Like I didn't know it was going to be so many problems. And Amanda goes, yeah, we did have some problems. And also Razvan can be pretty controlling at times. Like he didn't want me always being on other people's social media, like other people's live streams, which is how she met him. So of course he
Uh-huh.
doesn't. And
Mm-hmm.
Amber goes, there were reasons for that. Okay. And Amanda goes, relax. To her sister, relax. And she plays with her hair and kind of looks down. And Amber goes, yeah. And it wasn't just anyone's live streams. It was one particular person. And Amanda looks at her and goes, relax.
I've never
Relax.
seen the word relax used as a warning sign like that before. To like stop
She
talking, death stares, like daggers, relax.
death stares. She was like, relax. Relax. She says it 3 times. And Sean goes,
Mm-hmm.
so wait. Oh, wait. So wait a minute now. So you're saying that she was reaching out to other guys on social media? And Amber goes, again, just the one guy. And yeah, it was more than a friendship. It turned romantic for a second. Amanda goes, no, we're just friends. I don't know why she said that. Maybe it was a flirtatious, but no, I don't know why she said that.
It wasn't romantic, but it was flirtatious.
Right.
Okay.
And Razvan says, wow, this is the first time I'm hearing of this. This is the first time I've heard of this. And Amber goes, yeah, Razvan was suspicious of this one guy and told her not to talk to him anymore, but she was. And she was having romantic feelings with him. And
Why is the
Amanda,
sister blowing up her sister's spot? Do they hate each other? What
she
is
hates
going
her.
on?
She hates her. It
I
was
mean, I would hate
great.
her if she was my sister, to be fair.
And Amanda looks down and just like pulls on her hair because now the hair habit has come back. And she goes, no, it was never anything serious. So I don't know what Amber's talking about. So then we see the chat about
Also,
having,
let's go back because she was on Christian for flirting in bars
right,
when she was like doing the exact same thing.
right, right. So then we see the chat about them, about having kids, and him saying he does want to have kids, and about him saying he always wanted to move to the US. And she's like, well, I've never known that. He goes, yes, you did. I've told you that, right? And then he tells the producer regarding the kid situation. He says, I don't know. I just told her what she wanted to hear about not having kids because I didn't want it to be an obstacle in our relationship. Like he's like, we don't need to bring up kids like we've not even met in person. But yeah, like if we got in a relationship, of course he'd want to have more kids, is what he said.
Yeah,
But
I mean
that's
that's not great, and that is one
no,
thing people on the show do all the time is they wait until they're in person. I can talk them into it once we're in person. I'm just not going
right.
to say anything before then.
Right. It always works in your favor if you have
Yeah.
a big lie that you're hiding,
Yeah.
right? So then we see Amanda is watching the footage of Razvan crying and saying, like, I don't know if this is ever going to work. Like, it must be just is something wrong with me. Like, why does she treat me this way? And she's just death staring dead eyes onto the screen like she does.
No emotions
No
whatsoever.
emotion. And then she goes, yeah, I can't believe I just heard him say that, like he just told me what I wanted to hear in regards to kids. So she like, she's like, okay, now I've got one
Mhm.
thing, right?
Mhm.
So Sean says, Razvan, so you're planning to go to the US? And he goes, yes, I've got my tourist visa. I'm coming very soon, actually. And he says, and after that visa is up, I'm going to apply for another visa for artists. And I do want to move to the United States. And I'm hoping, when I get there, I'll be able to see her. And maybe she'll give me another chance. And then Amanda goes, yeah, he asked me if he could stay with me when he came. And dun, 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 commercial. And they come back. She goes, but I said no. Like, no, you can't stay with me. And
I'm
they
staying at
say,
the Wawa.
I'm going to go to the Wawa, whatever. Of course, she's going to see him while he's in the States. Of
Yeah.
course.
But I don't
And
think she should let him stay there with the kids.
no, 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 no.
That
Well,
was a good
Amanda,
decision.
let's say goodbye to your sister Amber. Thanks for letting us into your lives. I know this wasn't easy, but we wish you the best. Moving on. Hi, Tyray. So, poor Tyray, I think, has the COVID or something because he was like,
Yeah.
I'm okay. I was like, oh, okay. Okay,
I
Tyray, we
felt
get it.
that. I saw me and him. It's like, oh,
Poor
Tyray.
Tyray. We're sorry. So Sean says, Tyray, how are you responding to people who say, we just can't believe you would ignore all those red flags? And he goes, they're right. Every day I was thinking it didn't add up, but I was like gaslighting myself to
Mhm.
say it was okay, but it wasn't. But I've learned from this experience. I've learned from it.
This is how you take accountability for
Yeah.
yourself, Christian.
Mhm.
He's totally owning up and was like, yeah, I was an idiot.
Yeah, he was like, I gaslit myself into like forcing
Hmm.
myself to believe this is okay, but it wasn't okay.
Yeah.
So then, now this was super interesting. We're going to bring out the producer, Amelia. Amelia was the one who cracked the case of the catfisher.
I was so excited.
I
We
was
never
too.
get like inside baseball guests. That was
Mm-mm.
exciting.
It was exciting. And so she explains about how when she first met Tyray, she got the information like the email, the phone number, and the Snapchat of Carmela. So she started reaching out, and then Carmela would back out on any kind of video at the last minute. She was like, and this is how our process is. Like, we can't film with this person if we can't get them on video. So finally, she gets an email from Carmela that says, like, I have a secret. I'm not this person, whatever. So then we get the audio recording between Amelia and Christian, the catfish. And this is what he didn't want to hear that time when he was sitting at the restaurant with his sister and brother.
Uh-huh.
So we hear this guy whose name is Christian tell about when this started like 4 or 5 years ago. He made a bunch of accounts with a friend and they wrote to Americans and looked for a guy who would just be like an easy target and send them money. And Tyray probably sent $2,000 to $3,000. And she says, so this was just for money. You didn't have any feelings. He goes, no, just money, no feelings. And so we're having to listen to Tyray, like, listen to this. And she says, well, what happened when Tyray came to Barbados? Now, I was thinking the whole time this guy was in Nigeria or something. I
Yeah,
didn't know
yeah.
he really was in Barbados.
Uh-huh. Because I didn't know Tyray brought him packages, physical things, gifts, and
I,
things like that.
yeah, because he said, I needed those clothes. I needed that phone. But so did he
Yeah.
say, I need you to bring clothes for my brother?
Oh,
Like what?
interesting. Right. Yeah.
Or was it woman's clothes, like with tags this guy was going to like resell?
Right. Interesting.
Yeah, because I was like, what clothes did he say? The phone I could get, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and he says, he told him to come because he needed he said, I was going to tell him not to come, but I needed those clothes and that phone. So Tyray went to drop off the phone and the clothes at a store, and he's supposed to call from the store to say he'd done the drop off or something. It was very confusing
Wow.
at a store. And the guy sat in the car and watched him. And she said, well, what did you think when you saw him doing that? He said, I just thought, stupid American.
Oh, I couldn't believe they even aired this part. It felt so mean to Tyray. I mean, at
I
least
was,
he didn't criticize him physically.
that's what
Like
I was
that's what
worried
I
about.
thought was
Yeah.
going to happen.
Yeah.
It was brutal though.
It was awful. And they all say, oh my God, Tyray, we're so sorry. So sorry, Tyray. What an asshole. And then Christian has to make it about him. Christian's over there with his Aquanet hair sprayed up to the gods and was like, I have to say, from one Christian to another, fuck you. And you're giving all Christians bad name. We're like, it's not about you. It's not your turn. We've
Yeah,
already had your turn.
yeah,
Yours ended with a proposal. So shut
yeah.
up.
Hmm.
So, and Jasmine goes, I here to tell you this. Karma is a bitch and it will get you. And that makes me want to punch you in your fucking face. And Gino's like, uh-oh. I'm getting horny for Jasmine over here.
Jasmine is really like mama bear to
Oh
everyone
my,
on stage.
yeah.
It's so interesting.
That's what she said. Yeah.
He's very yeah, she's very confusing mentally and emotionally. I do not
Mhm.
understand.
And when I met her, she was wearing yet another ball gown with yet another diamond choker, just like sort of that same outfit she had on, but in different color, and long gloves with like rings and bracelets over the gloves.
Oh,
Very interesting.
fascinating.
Very
Like I
interesting.
kind of think she might be fun to hang out with.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
But like
We
so might Angela. But that doesn't mean I find her behavior any less
no.
despicable.
I would find at any moment I'd be terrified she'd turn on me.
Yeah.
And then she'd attack me in a Holiday Inn lobby.
Yeah.
So Amelia says, yeah, I was shocked to hear that whole part about him sitting in the car watching. It was scary. And Tyray goes, yeah, it is scary. It's violating and it's fucked up and it's like creepy. And so they say, well, Tyray, since all this has happened, we have gotten another phone number for Christian. Would you be actually interested in speaking to him? So they say yes. So they make the call, commercial. Um,
I I need them to have like a therapist on set because like I'm
yeah,
concerned. Tyrese shaking and he
yeah.
seems like he's going through something and it's
Well, when
concerning.
I met him, he was a complete joy.
I
He was a
he's
complete
delightful. I
He's
want he
delightful.
needs to be protected and I hope they
Yeah.
had like some sort of trauma counselor on
I'm sure
staff.
they do. I'm sure they do. So, I mean, if they can have 3 interpreters for
Yeah.
David, definitely they can afford a therapist. So,
Yeah.
they make the call and it goes right to voicemail. And right when the voicemail picks up, it says, "Please leave a message." Riley goes, "We're gonna get you, motherfucker."
I
It was
died.
I died. It was great. No, Riley
Riley,
he redeemed himself.
you just redeemed yourself for that
Yeah.
horrible take on Razvan. Good job,
Yes.
buddy.
Yeah. Oh, it was great.
It was perfect comic timing.
So then they say, all right, Tyray, do you have any other concerns about any information you may have given this catfish? And he says, and I wish he wouldn't have said this, like assuming that this Christian person is watching it. Do they get the TLC in Barbados? Is it delayed? I don't know. But they said, he says he did send intimate photos, and Riley goes, but not with your face in it. And he goes, yeah, unfortunately, yeah, my face was in it, I think.
Oh,
And he goes, that worries me. Like, I worry about like blackmail, or could they send the pictures like to my mom or post them on social media? And they're like, yeah, that person would be willing to do that. I'm like, why are you giving this person ideas?
and why are you telling all of us? Yeah, yeah, you could have kept that to yourself. But maybe it's like that I'm putting it out there. I'm owning it. If there
Yes.
are photos out, you know who it is and he's the scum of the earth for doing it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Maybe that's right.
if this person catfish has not done it already, I don't think they're going to do it. But yeah, I think he's why else would they ask for them unless to mock him or for blackmail? Like they
Or to be
must have at
like
one
a
point
trust,
had this
yeah.
idea. Yeah, a
Uh-huh. Like
trust thing.
a trust thing. Yeah. It's just like in DOS and Nexium, it's collateral. Yeah.
It is. It's collateral. I mean, I think it's good because um, someone who watched Catfish, the TV show, Tyray, let this
Uh-huh.
happen to him. There are victims every day, but there
Mhm.
is. So if he can spread awareness and maybe one person watching at home will learn, like he did not learn from all those episodes of Catfish he watched,
No, he
maybe
didn't.
someone watching this will be like, don't send that naked photo.
Picture,
Yeah.
especially with your face in it.
Yeah.
So, God, I'm so glad none of that was around when I was dating.
Oh, it's
So
horrible.
glad. God, it's
Yeah.
horrible. So Sean says, well, Tyray, what would you say to Christian if he's watching the show? Not you, Christian. No one's talking to you. We're talking to the catfish Christian.
Not
Because
everything's about you, Christian.
he was over there probably like, well, what I would say, we're not talking to you. So Tyray says, you know what? I'm going to take the Nicola and Misha route and just say I'll pray for him. And Misha goes, that's the best thing ever.
Oh
Prayer
my
hands. And Nicola's like, yes, a converted one. Yes. All my life to only talk about Jesus, Misha. So Sean says, now, Tyray, so many real women want to know if you're single and looking. And he laughs. He goes, oh, I'm single, but not looking. I've got a lot of self work to do. And Riley's like, my sister said, holler at her. He was like, oh, give me the number. I was like, you just said you weren't looking.
God.
How quick you turned in 1 second. So Sean says, well, we're not going to solve any of these problems today. So that's the end of the show. Thanks, studio audience. And they leave.
Here's my question for you. Maybe you know because you got the email. I've been to many TV tapings, and they take
Mhm.
so much longer than you think they're going to. Like Friends notoriously would take like 9 hours or something to shoot a
Yeah.
half-hour show.
Yeah.
How long does this take? Because I thought they used to film this over 2 days at least.
When I got the information about it from the person that I knew that was going to go, that didn't get to go, um, it was 2 days. It was literally like 9 to 9 Friday and Saturday.
I figured.
And those
That's
chairs did
brutal.
not look comfortable.
No, that's brutal. It's fun for like the first hour, and then it's not fun, and then you
I
just
can't
want to go
imagine.
home. Yeah,
Yeah. If it was one day, I could do it, but I couldn't do 2 days of that.
no.
No. So it's over. They all head to their dressing rooms, and Amanda giggles and strokes her hair, and it was like, "Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'll see Razvan when he comes in town because, like, he doesn't know this, but I'm seeing someone else, and so yeah, I just have to say I'm happy." I was like, "Girl, he's seeing 6 other girls. Just slow your roll. Look at him. Come on now."
Find a grief counselor, woman. Get that box of ashes out of your children's hands before you date anyone else.
It's yeah, yeah. So
You're playing with men's hearts in the meantime.
I just said she moves fast. She moves fast.
She moves real fast.
She's yeah. So they
But the
talk
way
to
it's the
Ryan.
laughing too, like I'm dating someone else. I'm so bad. Like, oh my god,
Yes,
I
yeah,
thought
you're
you were
right.
trying. I've never been as unsympathetic towards a widow in my life.
You're right. It is like, I'm just so bad. I can't help it.
Yeah, it's like she's like one of those women that shows up in fur coats when the police ring on the doorbell and they just filed for life insurance. And she's like, I'm just a widow. Oh, I'm just a poor little widow. Do you want a martini? Like, what is she doing? I don't know why she's doing
It's
this.
like
Is
Lori
she?
Vallow. I don't know. My
Yes.
brother just killed my husband and it's
Yeah.
crazy. I had to take her to school. Like, what do the neighbors think? We're having a pool
Sorry,
party.
neighbors. Yeah.
Oh God. So Riley says he doesn't necessarily see a future with Violet, but he has no regrets. And if he had to do it all over again, there are things he would do different.
So you do have regrets.
So you do have regrets because then you would, okay. Um, David says he's hoping to get approved very soon and have Sheila come to the U.S. and then want to get married in Vegas. All right,
Okay.
go for it. Next up is Misha and Nicole. Misha and Nicole. I got the whole way through this without fucking up anybody's names, and I got
Oh my
Misha and
God.
Nicole.
The
Oh,
amount of
sorry.
I was watching Pillow Talk. Not one person on Pillow Talk can say Nicola's name right, or at least they're not saying it the way Misha says it. There's
No,
like
she's.
Nicola. They say it so many different ways.
You're exactly right. She says Nicola, but even on this show, everybody was saying it in a different way.
And then did you
Uh,
notice in the last episode, because Jasmine says Dan instead of Dane, and then
Dan,
even Misha said Dan at one point. I
yeah,
was like, no, it's Dane. She's
it's
just not, she's
Dane.
saying it with her accent.
Yeah, it's not Dan, it's Dane. So, Misha and Nicola, she says, I'm just going to have to really watch and see what happens when he's in America. I want my daughters to give him a chance. And I hope everybody can see the person that I know he is. But I mean, she already said after their segment, when they talked to her backstage, she was like, I don't know what's going to happen here because he just said he learned about sex in fifth grade. And oh my God, yeah.
I just think if everyone in your life, including all these strangers, are seeing someone in a certain way, but you think you see the real them,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's not that, it's the opposite. If
Yeah.
everyone in your life, including your children, and again, these strangers and Christian, are saying they see this guy as one way, but you're like, I see his real heart. I see the real him. You don't. You have to
No,
listen to everyone else.
everyone else. Cleo, did you hear us? Did you hear what we
Yeah.
said?
Mm-hmm.
So, let's see. Misha, Nicola. Okay. And then Christian says, in the end, Cleo and I had good resolution today. And as far as all that drama and everybody coming after me today, I've totally been redeemed.
Oh my God. And we're
There is,
basically engaged.
and he walks out, puts on his sunglasses as he walks out and goes, let's blow this popsicle stand.
It's like, does he practice his like, I think
He's
he's doing.
really,
Is he doing like Steve Martin, that Saturday Night Live character? Like what? I can't even figure out what he's doing. This hipster guy that
I don't,
he's trying to be. It's so put on. It's so phony. It's so annoying.
it is. And now I want somebody to go into the Steiners
Yeah.
Discord and
We
tell me
need
what's
an
happening over
intro.
there.
We need an interloper. We need a spy on the inside to get Cleo out. It's like a Nexium like cult mission. We need someone to
Yes.
go in and rescue Cleo.
Yes. So Statler goes, yep, I'm going home to pack up my whole life and sell everything I own and move to England. And yeah, with Dipsy, if our communication doesn't get better, yeah, it's never going to work out. What?
Okay. Oh, I do have something to say. That was the one
Okay.
part, and because I wasn't on last week, and so it's really
Yeah.
not my place to say because I wasn't here. But I was very upset when Statler's best friend comes on and
Mm.
says, Dempsey, I don't really like Dempsey. I don't think she's special, and I don't think I don't think they're going to make it. I don't think there's anything special about her, and I think, they're not, blah, blah, blah. And then Dempsey was like, okay, I don't really want to talk to her. That's really rude. I
She
don't want
said
to talk to
she
her.
said her opinion is invalid, is what
Her
she said.
opinion is invalid. And they're like, and everyone jumps on Dempsey like she was being a bitch for saying
Yeah.
her opinion was invalid. I was like, that woman came in so hot and said
Yeah.
that she wasn't special and their relationship was nothing. And like,
Yeah.
of course, good for Dempsey. And then Statler is like, Dempsey can just be this way around people. I was like, around bitchy people, she can stand up for herself. Yes.
I agree with that. I felt like we definitely missed something. They must have cut something out because that made no
Yeah.
sense. That made no sense. This girl comes in and is like, "No, she's not special. I have no idea why she even likes her."
Yeah.
And then when Dempsey's like, "Well, your opinion's invalid," everybody's like, "Whoa, Dempsey's being
Whoa,
a
too
real
far.
bitch." Like,
Yes. I felt like I was in the Twilight Zone. I did not understand.
I was like,
Yeah,
"What did I
maybe something.
miss? What
Yeah,
did I
something.
miss?"
We must have missed something that was cut. Yeah.
Because I was like, "That didn't make
I'm
any sense.
glad
She's
you thought
allowed
that too.
she's allowed to defend herself."
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, good. I'm glad
So
you agree.
yeah, I totally agree. Then Gino says, Jasmine and I are we're in love. And that sex tape thing went in the wrong direction. But we do have 90 days to get married, so we got to work it out, okay?
I would
And then
like to know if they discuss the children thing. Well, she's here and they're getting married. They need to resolve this children situation.
well, she didn't think he was going to be able to ejaculate inside of her, and now he can. So now what? I
Well,
mean,
maybe her
God,
badge is too tight and he still can't.
maybe that's why she tightened it. Um, I'm looking to see if the girl that I knew that was going to go to the tell all, if I have her in my texting
Yeah,
to
because
just
maybe they did ask about that.
she didn't get to go. She didn't go
Oh,
to the
she didn't
tell.
get to go.
No. I'll find it later. Okay, so because then we're at the end now, and they talk to Jasmine about how things are going, and she goes, "Well, we're gonna have to find a way to leave all this tell-all stuff in the past, but I'll do tonight like David with sign language," and then she humps the air. Yeah. But guess what?
Again,
That doesn't work on Gino. He doesn't care about that.
he doesn't care. But again, I still think she'd be funny on Pillow Talk.
I really have to agree with that. But she's going to be on this upcoming season
Right.
of
I would rather see, I mean, honestly would rather see her on Pillow Talk because I don't know if I could, another season of the screaming and the irrational anger.
but you understand now we're going to have her on regular 90 Day. Then they
Yeah.
can put her on Happily Ever After. Then
Oh,
they can
God,
put her
you're
on Last
right.
Resort. She's got 3 more
Yes.
shows. Then she goes to Pillow Talk.
Yep. I'm exhausted.
I don't know if Gino would be funny on Pillow Talk though.
No, that's true. But they've had couples before where the one is kind of a dud. But yeah, you're right. They don't usually last that long. You need
Yeah,
both of them to be. Yeah, I could
funny.
like really analyze Pillow Talk. Like I could
Yeah.
go into a deep dive, like who my favorite couples were and all. I've seen like every episode on all the seasons. I like Pillow Talk so much more than the real show.
I see. Like I was going to watch it on Sunday night. I was going to watch it, but they put Sister Wives after it, and it's already
Yeah,
11 o'clock by that time. And I was like, "Mom,
yeah.
I got to go night night."
No,
So I
I
haven't
understand.
watched. I haven't watched it for this episode yet because,
I
again, I had
usually
to be
don't watch till
on
after
y'all.
we record because I don't want
Yeah.
to steal anybody's jokes.
Oh, okay, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'll
Oh my
occasionally
gosh.
watch to be like, am I crazy? And then I'm crazy sometimes. Like they all were on team Violet and not team Riley. So I'm crazy.
I think the thing with Violet is, and we could circle back to it because this is where we started. I think the thing with Violet is obviously whatever she went through was devastating to her.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's just what it is. You can't take
It
that
is.
away from her. But
Exactly.
it doesn't discount the fact that throughout their relationship, he caught her in many really big
Mm-hmm.
lies, like you said,
Mm-hmm.
like big ones.
Yeah.
And so, but maybe she did decide that last night after she got a little nookie. Maybe she was like, I kind of do like him. And maybe because I think if she came back and was like, I do want to get back together, I think he'd be like, all right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's always had the upper hand in the relationship.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. He's always willing to come back around. And I think it's because they're similar in a lot of ways. They're both very kind of cutting and biting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They,
Actually, it's interesting that he had a ring with him, but he didn't propose after they had sex that last night.
why
Maybe
well,
it wasn't, he said it was fun, but it
he
must not
did
have
say.
been life changing.
Yeah. What did Amy say last week? She said, "Did you feel that it wasn't consensual between the two of them?" And I was like, "No, he said it was fun."
Yeah, he
But
said it was,
Amy had literally not really watched the whole season. She
yeah.
just literally kind of like went with it. She was like,
Uh-huh.
I know who these people are, but I haven't really watched it."
I love it. So wait,
Yeah.
did she think he was angry or did she think that Violet is, she didn't.
No, she
Yeah.
didn't. No, she
Yeah.
didn't.
I mean,
She
both can be
didn't.
true. She can be shady and he can be angry. I just didn't find him as angry as everybody else did.
Because they even mentioned it this week. They even said like, "You
Right,
have some anger
Jasmine said
issues."
you're angry. It's like Jasmine's telling someone that they have anger issues.
Yeah, but we didn't see it. But once again, that doesn't mean it's not true. It just
Yeah,
means that they absolutely do not need to be together.
no,
But
100%.
probably for the sake of television, maybe they will. But I mean,
Yeah.
you could put like Riley and Tiffany could be on Pillow Talk.
Oh,
He
that
and
would
his
be fun. Oh, that's a
he and his
great
buddy.
idea.
Yeah,
She's great. Yeah, that would be fun.
she's pretty funny. So yeah,
Hmm. Yeah.
and I liked her Louis Vuitton necklace. I was eyeballing it.
I liked that he complimented her shoes when she came out.
Yeah,
He
he's like,
was
"Hey
like, I like
sis."
heels. Yeah.
Somebody was like, he's really in love with her. I was like, no, she had that husband. It was Dylan and
Yeah,
Pat
no,
were
I
like, I
don't
think
think
he's in love with
so.
her. I was like, no, he was friends with the husband.
No, but that friend of Statler is in love with Statler. 1000%.
Yeah, you saw how she was all like splotchy.
Yes, and she was like,
Yeah.
I just think she'll give you your heart and she'll give you the world if you let her in and you just better treat her right. And I was like, okay, I don't talk about Katie that way.
Well, I think Statler's a love addict, and I think she's always getting her heart broken.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Well,
true.
I'm interested to see if they are going to do van life. I know that like they posted on Instagram that like that Dempsey was in Texas for like a couple of weeks, and yeah.
Oh, I would be curious. Yeah, are they getting another season or do we have to watch them on Instagram to find out what happens?
Or are we going to follow them? 90 Day Fiance Van Life. That's the new spinoff
Mm-hmm.
because they need to give us one more spinoff because we don't have
Mm-hmm.
enough.
Or could
I
they
did
just be on 90 Day UK? Can they just
no.
shove everybody in England on the UK version?
Yeah, I don't think so.
with chicken.
I love you, chicken.
It's
But
so good.
I don't think so because no, I don't think so because I don't think they plan to get married. Do you?
I
Nobody
don't know.
mentioned getting married.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening.
Maybe they do. I don't know. Well,
Now they're
listen,
on the same page about kids. It's very confusing.
at the same pages, we don't know if we want kids.
Which was like literally, it was a deal breaker.
Yeah, it
But
was like,
now
that's
you're,
it. I'm packing my shit and leaving.
I will
Yeah,
have kids one way or another, with or without you. I will have kids. But
yeah.
now it's like I'm not. I don't even know if I want kids. Okay.
I, people will say a lot of things to be on television. That's what I've
Yeah.
discovered.
Yeah.
Just to get one more season of that
Yep.
sweet, sweet Matt Sharp money.
Yep. I hear
Um, by the way, I asked Matt Sharp if he thought that was funny, and he said he did. So
you.
I'm allowed to say it.
I love it.
I said, "That's funny, right?" He goes, "That is funny." I was like, "Okay, thank you. I'll continue to say it then. Thank you.
Good.
I don't want to
Okay.
offend you, Matt Sharp. All I want. Without you, I have no job, Matt Sharp."
I love it.
All right, so everybody, you know to follow Kimberly and Katie on A Date with Dateline, wherever you get your podcast, and at Dateline on Instagram. And
And
maybe
our
we'll get that.
second podcast, A
Oh,
Date with the
tell us.
Bake, is starting up. It's our fourth season, I think. We cover Great British Bake Off, and it's called A Date with the Bake with our friend Jake. It's A Date with the Bake with Jake. And you can follow us anywhere you subscribe to podcasts, and A Date with the Bake on Instagram. And it's really fun. And
Okay.
we talk about, the soggy bottoms and the British innuendos, and we pretend we know about baking and we don't. It's pretty fun.
We have had another request for us to recap that show, the Naked People show,
Are
the
you
Naked Show.
serious?
Somebody posted it in our Facebook group and was like, "Are you going to talk about this show?" And I was like, "Oh, that's the one Kimberly told us about."
That's the one. We could just do the one episode that someone sent me on YouTube. We just do one
Yeah,
episode.
I think it must be on Discovery Plus because somebody sent it to me.
Oh, maybe it is on Disco. Yeah, before I think it was only on YouTube. Maybe it is on
And it
Discovery.
wasn't blurred.
Yeah,
What's it
I'm
called?
scared.
Naked people?
Naked Attraction or something.
Naked people doing things? I'm gonna write that down. Naked attraction. I'll look it up. Oh Lord. All right. Well, thank you so much. And
Thank
guys,
you. I will
this
cover
week.
anything with you, even if it's inappropriate.
Well, guess what? Next week we got 90 days. So
Oh my God, I'm
get
so scared.
get ready. Guys, also this week on the podcast on Thursday, which is our Shades of Bravo, I'm going to have two girls, Emily and Lauren from Access Hollywood. They're going to
Oh
come
wow,
on to
that's
talk.
so fun.
That's fun.
Very
And then
cool.
we're putting a very special episode out on our $5 Prime level, which is a segment we're calling Ask Mark. Ask Mark Wahlberg any of your life.
Yes.
Do you have life questions for Mark Wahlberg? Are you on the $5 level of Prime? Please send this in to us at info@pinkshadepodcast.com or mp@pinkshadepodcast.com because I am recording that on Tuesday and I've got some questions for Mark Wahlberg. He's
I
going to,
mean, the amount of knowledge he must have amassed over his time in reality TV
I
about
know,
love and losing, and I
he's,
think
he,
I think
he's got
it's
deep hot takes from Mark. Yeah. So
yeah.
I'm gonna that's gonna be our new segment called Ask Mark. It's not gonna be that often, but every so often we're gonna get Mark Wahlberg to come on. You guys, Mark L. Wahlberg from Temptation Island,
Yeah, it's not
not Mark,
it's not
not the other one.
it's not Marky Mark.
Yeah. So I've got Emily and Lauren from Access Hollywood. I've got the Ask Mark segment coming up. And next week, I'll also be back with Keisha for Love After Lockup and Kimberly for the new 90 Day Fiance.
Yay, I can't wait to listen because
Yay.
I've been actually, since I've been sick, I've been catching up on Love After Lockup. So I can't wait to
Oh.
listen to that. Yeah.
And one last thing, guys, again, our $5 Prime level, we have every weekend, and with this covering it with Amy Archer, we're covering 90 Day the Other Way and Welcome to Plathville. Now, I'm also covering 90 Day UK with Katie on the $10 level, and I'm going to have to add, I think, the Family Chantel over there to that $10 level because
Yeah.
that's coming back.
That's
I can't,
amazing.
I can't add it to the $5 level. I've already got two shows.
That's crazy.
It's too much. Matt Sharp gives and gives and gives until he can give no more.
He's so generous.
He's so generous.
But
All
really,
right.
is there going to be a pillow talk? Because I have not watched the last 2 seasons of Family Chantel. I've only watched the pillow talk versions because
Oh,
that's as much as I can handle.
well, I told Chantel, and by the way, I've got her phone number now because
Are we going to find out about Winter and Asuelu?
I think we are.
Okay, I'm so
I think
down. I'm so
I think
excited.
we are. I think we are. I think something happened.
Oh
I don't
my,
I don't know. I
Thrush.
don't know. I don't
Was
know.
it Thrush?
Ew, no, no, don't blame Winter for that. No, no, no,
Oh,
no, no,
everyone
no.
online has already blamed Winter for that.
Absolutely not. I
I,
have
don't, I
met
think
her and she is lovely and she gave no one thrush.
I
No.
love Winter. I'm rooting
Yeah.
for Winter always.
Always.
Yeah,
Don't besmirch her. She's a lovely girl.
I'm
Lovely girl.
sure.
All right, I'll talk to you next week.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Ads not read by me, Mary Payne, don't necessarily reflect the views of Pink Shade. If you'd like to listen to ad-free, you're going to go on over to Supercast or Patreon, and you can find the links to Pink Shade Prime at pinkshadepodcast.com.